Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well today. We definitely got some snow. My gosh, like everything's canceled. No food places are open. There was somebody stuck in their in the cul-de-sac over here, and it was just kind of crazy. So hopefully you don't have to get out. You shouldn't have to. Everything's canceled anyway, but if you do, just be extremely careful, right? Just be careful and maybe take a blanket in the car or, a first aid kit. I don't know, something just in case you do happen to get in a crash or you're stuck, right? You don't want to be stranded and then be freezing in your vehicle. So just consider those factors. But this video is just like random things I've had. They don't really relate to each other, but just some stuff I was just going to talk about and go over, okay? So the first, the first thing is for the old trumpinator, right? Donald, how loud and far does your trumpet go? Okay, because I feel like there needs to be a serious investigation into some of the departments in the government, like the CIA and the FBI. Who knows? Maybe NSA. For them targeting specific people in the world and monitoring them, okay? And doing like energy experiments on them, okay? You need to investigate that, Donald Trump, for real, because that does happen. And if you realize the population of people they do that to, those are the wrong people to do that to, okay? That needs to end. That needs to stop. So, if Donald Trump isn't aware, hopefully this can bring him current to the situation. And if he is aware and does nothing, then what do you think that tells you? Right? Can't trust people above here. Regardless. Okay, so that's one. And the thing about that also is like what they do in those programs is when they target the specific people, they're trying to disable their connection from the Most High. Okay, and I know that sounds goofy, but you would think the government or higher ups would approve of your connection to the Most High, but actually, most of them don't. Like, think about the Vatican and stuff like that. All right, they don't approve of that. And the reason why is because if you had that connection, you wouldn't believe in 80% of the things that are presented to you in your reality. Okay, so that's why there's a problem there. They don't want people to have the connection, and they don't want you to activate the connection. So that's why they do this. It's kind of sad. Okay, so there's the first thing. Let me see. The second thing, okay, bridge connectors. Okay, I talked about this a long time ago, but I was just going to bring it up. Bridge connectors are basically when you ingest like food that is manufactured, really bad food, basically fast food. I mean, there's so many things. Those are bridge connectors. And what I mean by that is the ingredients and material that you're ingesting in your body has fine, thin metals in it. So those metals can be activated or used as a connector from you to the machine, the vehicle that they're using, right above an energy weapon, right? Do systems, whatever. So basically, if you're taking food, medicine, drugs, it could be anything you're addicted to. It could be cigarettes, for gosh sake. I mean, whatever it is, okay? They can use those ingredients in there to bridge the connection between you and their weapon, okay? So that's why you really want to start eliminating a lot of those terrible foods, because then the less that you have in your body, the less of a connection they can make with you. Okay, that's really key, especially the medicines, because in a sense, it's almost like they have ownership over you. In a sense, okay, just think of it that way, because they are able to connect. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's all accurate. Go look it up. But they are able to connect with you when you have those metals within your body. So let's just say, you take a specific medication that you have to take every single month. Well, if that medication has that ingredient within it, then that company, let's just say, Bayer or something like, they would intellectually own you in a sense because they're able to have that bridge connection. It sounds so crazy, but that's the world we live in. It's actually sad. So try to wean yourself off. I love candy, okay? I'm just like such a candy person. I'm always like craving like stuff I can like chomp on and like, I don't know. So just try to eliminate that from your diet as much as you can. When you eliminate that, you eliminate the bridge connection, okay? And then the ownership, okay? So there's one. And also to add to that, if you just think of the jab, right? They had this huge campaign about it because they wanted everyone to get that, the herd immunity. Well, think about it. The ingredients weren't good, so they wanted herd immunity for the bridge connection. Okay? Well, you got to think about this stuff before you go and take it. Discernment is so key. Okay, let me see here. What else do I have? Okay, I was also noticing, I looked back and watched a few of my videos and I was really surprised. I was like, anyone that knows me and that watches these videos is probably seeing a different side of me. And the reason why is because, you know, when you live on your own, I've lived on my own. I've told this in another video since I was 18. But when you live on your own, you have to wear all of the hats, especially if you have a child, right? You're providing for them. You know, you're sacrificing a lot of stuff in your life just to provide for them, right? And you may be struggling. There may be a lot of things. So you're not able to have that soft side of you be present all the time because you're always operating in a masculine energy, which is really just like a protector and the organizer and like the plumber and the engineer and the cook and the educator. And you know what I mean? Like when you have to do all of those, you're never able to like let that soft side of you show through. So I was looking at some of my videos and I was like, oh my gosh, I bet people are probably like, I've never seen this side of you before. Yeah, that's probably true. That's because I've never been able to have the softness come out because I've always been operating with so many things on my shoulders. It was weighing me down and putting me in that energy. So I finally learned so many things from God that kind of like took me out of that, showed me how that was happening to me, and like I was able to balance it out. So awesome. You know, praises to the Most High. Okay, so that's one thing. Let me see. Okay. Okay, something also crazy. Okay. Okay. I had a dream, okay? So strange. But I had a dream, okay, that my spouse had passed away, had returned. Okay? Him and like a bunch of just, I'm gonna call them groupies, okay? But he returned, like out of sorts, and was like wanting forgiveness for like, you know, not actually passing away. It was so strange, you know. And the thing is, because I already healed from that, I didn't have any like sympathy. It didn't affect me in the way that it would have 10 years ago, you know. So it was making me think like, you know, this whole thing that had started really was after he passed away. So it's so interesting that I posted a document showing the Amber Nicole Wilcher that lives in my town. And if you know me and you understand what I'm talking about, that is just not a coincidence, okay? That is just too odd to have that name in the same town I live in. Come on now. And when you go look up the information for that person, they've had identity theft charges. Come on. So that makes me wonder also, how could someone be married to a spouse that's dead? You see what I mean? So it's interesting that I had that dream that him and like a group of people were trying to come back and basically get an apology or something. And I was like, what? No, I'm good, right? If you have been gone this whole time, that's where you need to stay, okay? Like how interesting that that occurred. I was like, oh, I hope that's not the case, right? You know how much grief I went through that? You know how much growing and, you know, growing pains and just like, it was depression, man, for years. So that is just odd. Pay attention to your dreams because just like that document was just striking something and then me thinking like, how could someone even be married to a spouse that's dead? I've never even been married. There's something not right with that. That's why I posted the document of it, okay? So hopefully more information can be uncovered about that. Another thing I noticed throughout the videos is like my hair color changes. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And that is natural. I do not dye my hair. So I was like, oh my gosh, my hair goes from like red to blonde to brown. And it's the seasons. It's so cool. I was like, wow, you don't even need to dye your hair when you have your hair that naturally changes colors, right? Oh, cool. And also, you shouldn't dye your hair. Man, there are so many chemicals in that, and that is right on your brain. That is right on your scalp. Like, you should never dye your hair. Okay. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting tidbit. If people are like, man, you look so different in your videos, yeah, that's probably why. My hair changes itself. Okay, there's that. Okay, let me see here. Okay, the other thing was like when I was realizing I was being heavily stalked, okay, followed to work, everywhere I went, to the store, to the nature park. You know, there were people sitting outside my house in their vehicles and stuff. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? It was when I was posting all those pictures of people driving around my cul-de-sac, right? I live on the end of an addition. So for you to just drive in the cul-de-sac and then leave the addition right there, it's alerting me. Okay, I'm very aware of my surroundings, but it was just getting me to think like, because of the whole name that was married and just stuff like that, it makes me think, obviously, that someone had to put me under an investigation of some sort, obviously under false pretenses. I have no criminal history at all. I had one ticket in like my 20s that actually wasn't even on my record. I have nothing. I have never done anything to ever be in trouble. So it made me think, like, oh my gosh, there had to have been something done that was putting me under a false investigation for no reason, okay, which is totally ridiculous. So surely the people that were investigating me realized, like, hey, she's pretty damn boring, dude. She just goes to work and goes home. She goes to the nature park or goes to Walmart. Like I'm not out partying or like going to the bar. I don't do any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Duh. Hello, you have guidance above, man. You don't do stuff like that, but it's just interesting because now that I've noticed that the stalking, like following me, has like totally went down to like just a minimum. Okay, a minimum, I'll say. It hasn't ended, it's a minimum. Um, but that makes me think like, why would somebody even do that to me, right? The community in the area I live needs to be investigated. It needs to be investigated, okay? The people that were watching me in whatever department or whatever locality, they need to be investigated too, because obviously something is going on. And I just came to the conclusion of this, okay? I'm not the first person this has been done to. I can just tell. It's like an extortionist group, okay? There's way too much that has occurred on so many levels for it to be just a one-time thing. They probably have this going on with multiple people. They're being surveillanced in your home without your knowledge or consent, which that is interesting because I'm like, I thought this a long time ago. How are people, you have to be getting paid to be following me around. Like, what kind of life do you have, dude? Like, you're just a freaking loser. But it makes sense that when they are illegally surveillancing people in their home, they're getting paid from that because they're getting other people to watch this, okay? They're getting people to watch you in your home without your knowledge or consent, and they're getting paid by that. So you got some freaking weirdos out there that are watching people in their home without their knowledge or consent, doing anything they do. Shower, they're watching their kids, they're watching all your intimate details, everything you do, okay? And because I've had this go on for 5 years, about 10 years, okay? Really my whole life, but I've noticed it stalking wise with this extortionist group in the town I live in. And because I've went through it all these years, I'll spend years suing y'all, okay? Making sure I bring justice to myself and anyone else that you've done this to, because this is ridiculous. Okay, I feel terrible for the people that have had to go through this and never even realized what was happening and going through all of these triumphs in their life. And these people are laughing at them and extorting them. It's ridiculous, but it will come to a close. This is the last time you will ever do it to anyone again. I'm telling you now. So that's what it is. It's a moneymaker. It's like a business. It's a group. They illegally install things in your home, and then they make money off of that with people online that pay to watch that. Is that not freaking ridiculous, man? We got some sick people in this world. And unfortunately, a lot of them live in the community I live in. Okay? It's really sad. So I'll make sure to get that investigated when things start, coming together legally. I'll make sure the town's investigated, okay? Because you will be put to rest on that for sure. And any locality, any government official, any cop or anything, you'll also be included in that, okay? You need to stop. You need to be taken away from that position. That's so immoral. It's so illegal. You're violating civil rights, okay? And you are also affecting a personal a person on emotional level, a physical level, their environment, their social, their career. Like, come on, man. Their safety and security. Okay? Totally wrong. It really brought me to tears when I realized that 2 years ago, but I'm just now speaking out on it because, you know, it takes time to process this stuff, man. I know a lot, but I don't talk about it. Maybe until a year or two later. Okay? And that's one of them. So that will be brought to justice, whatever group you're in, impersonating people and all this bullshit. Okay? I'm very intuitive. I can see things. Okay? That's what it is. I see it. I already have seen it. I saw it 2 years ago. I was like, oh, wow. Freaking perverts, man. Sicko perverts. Exploiting people and their kids. Okay? So that's pretty bad. And those people are in like these cults, covens, and groups that extort kids, traumatize kids, right? They sexually abuse kids, they traffic kids, okay? That's what they do. It's really sad. I don't know specifically who's in this group or whatnot. I'm just saying I saw it, okay? That's what it is. So you will be taken down, okay? I'm just saying. The war angels, dude, you started a battle, and my ancestors, they fight wars, man. Okay? Good luck. So, everything I do and get is from the Most High. I don't doubt what I know and what He gives me. It's accurate, correct, and on point every time. It may be ahead of the time I need to say the truth, okay? It may be years ahead. I may see something 2 years before it even occurs. So, people are like, what are you talking about? You'll see what I mean. Okay? That's what this is. There's also levels to it. This is one level that's going on. Okay? This has nothing to do with the other things. Okay? Intellectual property rights and that jazz. Okay? But, so just know that. And if you are a person that's going through this or experiencing it, pray. Ask the Most High. Okay? Get answers. He will show you exactly what's happening. That's what He did for me. He showed me. I'm so aware. I can't look away, right? I've been like that for years, but it went on like full blast mode when I was like, Lord, what is happening, right? And He showed me everything. So always have faith, okay? No matter what you're going through, because man, this has been a hell of a hell, okay? It's been a huge hurdle for me to conquer, but you know, I can conquer anything, so I'm not worried about it. It was a little bit difficult, but my ancestors were there pushing me along the whole time and holding me up, so here I am, you know. Tables have turned, now it's time for you to be on the other end of that stick, you know what I mean? See if you can handle it. You wanted someone else to handle that and go through it all. See if you can do the same thing, you know what I mean? So, high hopes, man. Nothing happens without the Lord and your ancestors and your team. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.